Alright, you shocking bastards. Here is my thunder-based build for Code Vein. This build is, for the most part, typical mage build that revolves around managing Ichor and doing massive damage from some very cool spells. Electricity spells in Code Vein are very good, and that is why I am focusing on that mage school. If some bosses are highly resistant to electricity damage, then simply switch to any other element and you'll be fine. Blood code that I'm using is Artemis. It gives good stats across the board, which is necessary to use all the spells that I want to use. Focus here is on dexterity and willpower. Our sword attacks are not going to be anything special, but it is nice to have backup in case we run out of Ichor, and to do some additional damage against bosses that are highly aggressive and there's simply no time to cast many spells at once. Weapon that I'm using is Blazing Claw. If you want, you can transform it to be electrical weapon, doesn't matter really. Just use any type of weapon that will grant you normal mobility and that scales with dexterity. Blazing Claw fits the build perfectly, so that's why I've decided to stick with it. Blood Whale is Black Blood Liberator. This thing has high drain rating, which is really important, and it also boosts dark gifts significantly. Passives are Stamina Stimulant. It is important that we have enough stamina to get out of the way, especially against bosses. Then we have Mind and Vitality Up. A lot of these spells that I'm using have some kind of requirement from Mind and Vitality, so this is why I went with this particular stat boost mix. Next to that we have traditional Dexterity Willpower for these kind of builds. Last one is Lifesteal, but this is the one that you can change with anything that you see fit at the moment. Lifesteal is great for clearing out areas of enemies because it negates health cost from blood sacrifice, which I'm going to explain next. If you do not want Lifesteal, then you can go for one-handed sword mastery and focused give speed against bosses. This is really nice because it increases cast speed, and that small speed increase can sometimes save your arse. Spells that I'm using are Plasma Roar. It's your typical roar spell, but honestly I barely use this one. All three other spells are in my opinion better choices. Then we have Indra's Coil. Now this is an interesting one. It's basically useless in fight itself, but for clearing out stages it is amazing because you can initiate combat from very far away and do massive damage against tough enemies, bringing them down to low health immediately. Then we have Fourfold Verdict. This is an insane spell, but it also has high Ichor cost. It does massive amount of damage and it takes a bit for it to kick off and damage the enemy. It is good against bosses and for clearing stages. So this is your primary thing versus anything tough. Last offensive spell that I have is Blast Bolt. It's an instant cast damaging ability that is there to clear out weaker enemies in one shot or to just finish off tougher opponents quickly. On the back bar I have defensive spells, Iron Will, Foul Blood Barrier, Cleansing Light and Blood Sacrifice. Blood Sacrifice is very important for this build because it is our primary method of obtaining Ichor. Cleansing Light comes into play with Blood Sacrifice because it negates most of the health cost when using Blood Sacrifice to gain Ichor. We lose approximately 100 health per Blood Sacrifice when Cleansing Light is active, which is negligible. And that is where Lifesteal comes into play because when we kill enemies we get about 100 to 150 health back, which negates the cost of Blood Sacrifice completely. So how to play this build? When we are clearing areas of enemies, then most important thing to do is to know when to use these spells. Cleansing Light needs to be active at all times because we're gonna use Blood Sacrifice after almost every spell. As I said already, Indra's Coil is there to do damage to enemies from afar, without them even noticing you. It is great way to start combat against tough enemies. Fourfold Verdict is your primary damaging spell, however it costs a lot of icors, so save it for tougher encounters. You don't need to use this thing for weaker enemies. Do not forget about backstabs as well. They don't do much damage, but we get a lot of icor with just one backstab. So keep that in mind. Don't rely only on blood sacrifice. Use backstabs as well to gain a lot of icor. That would be all for this build. I hope you like it. Thanks for watching.